I love this bag. But I bought this bag doing a 3 o'clock in the morning feed with my newborn son attached to my breast on the sofa. Instead of having a little bit of patience and waiting, no, went straight to a reseller. I want to buy one of those bags, please, at that ridiculously overpriced mark that you have on it. Try other things on. I went into that store fixated that that was what I was going to buy. Hello, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me today. I want to share with you 5 things that I wish I knew before starting on this crazy obsessive luxury handbag journey. I'm not saying I would have made any different decisions, but I wish I had known these 5 things before starting. And I also want to share with you 5 mistakes that I have made, big mistakes that I have made on my handbag collecting journey, and things that I hope can help you not make the same mistakes that I did if you're thinking about going down this route. Before we do, let me share with you today's sponsor of this part of the video, and it is Zuvi hairdryer. Zuvi have created an award-winning light technology hairdryer, and they reached out to me after watching the vlog I put on my channel talking about how I have struggled with hair loss. I got postpartum hair loss after both of my children, but it didn't stop. I lose lots and lots of hair. I have very fine hair, I have very fuzzy hair. I've talked about this in a lot of videos, and a lot of my hair falls out. Zuvi have created their Halo hairdryer to help people with postpartum hair loss, with thin hair. I've said before in videos that I actually struggled with my hair loss more than I did with the weight gain from my pregnancies, and it's something as a woman that affected me really, really badly. So if there's anything that might help, I'm going to try it. Let me put in some footage to show you my first impressions, and then I'll come back and have a chat with you after that. Let's try this. I have never used light technology to dry my hair before, so I have no idea what is coming. This is the hairdryer. It feels really luxurious. It feels very light. This leather type handle on it is very comfortable. It feels like a very expensive product. That's my first initial thoughts when I'm going to use it. It has these buttons on the back. This is how you turn it on. This button changes it along these settings, and there's care, fast, soft and style. So I'm going to be starting on the fast to try and get my hair dried a bit, and then we'll go to some of the styling. The attachments that comes with it, I have those here. This is the one I'm going to be using. This is for straightening and styling. This is to curl. It's a bit like a traditional diffuser, and then it has this for if you have a sensitive scalp. I'm assuming that diffuses the light somehow. And let's start with the fast one, I think. Oh! I don't know what I was expecting, but I wasn't expecting that to be quite so forceful. You can see it. Look at the light colour. Look at the light. I do think that's blasted my hairdryer quicker than a traditional hairdryer. I'm going to put on this. Let's have a look. It's meant to be magnetic. Again, I don't know what I was expecting, but that is a strong magnet. This is for straightening and styling, so I'm going to try this now to finish off my hair. Okay, so that is with style mode. Whenever you put the attachment on to style it, it definitely slows down a bit, but that makes sense because the other mode is called fast, and this is to style. It definitely looks shiny. I haven't lost very much hair. So I'm going to put the straighteners through it. I always do that. I need that because though this is quite tame for my hair without having been straightened with a regular hairdryer. So this actually is pretty good without the straighteners. I'm going to put the straighteners through and give you a look. First impressions are really good. I think it is quite sleek. I think it's quick. I also could have already had my makeup on. It's not overly warm. It's quite cool. But yeah, really good first impressions from using it. I'm going to keep using this for a while though before I decide if you will be seeing this in a video or not. And if all goes well, I will fill you in more in the main part of the video. From the footage, I tried this out whenever it first arrived. I was a bit shocked by how forceful it was about the light technology, the light changing colours, I wasn't expecting that, and also how quickly it dried my hair. So I wanted to share with you some of my favourite things about this, and one of them is how shiny my hair has been. A lot of you guys have actually commented on my hair in videos recently about how well it's been looking, and that's when I have been using this hairdryer. I also think that it's helped with my hair loss. I also think it's helped with the frizziness. I'm going to leave a link in the description box to this hairdryer. There's also going to be a discount code for you, which is always good. And if you have any of these things, this is something that I think you should maybe consider trying out. So thank you to Zuvi for sponsoring this part of today's video. And now let's talk about the 5 things that I wish I had known before starting this crazy journey, and then my 5 luxury mistakes. And the first one is that it never ever ends. It's addictive. Creating a collection, collecting these bags, becoming addicted to these bags, it's addictive. following the bags, chasing the bags down. It's addictive. There's always more bags. When I first bought my Neverfull in Rome for my 30th birthday, I walked about with that chocolate brown box and I thought I was the bee's knees. I absolutely loved it. I thought I'd reached the pinnacle. I thought I'd made it. This was the handbag I was going to have. And I still love that bag. But it didn't stop there. It didn't stop there. It sparked something. It triggered something in me that was like, ooh, I like this. I want to join this hunt. I want to do this again. It wasn't even just whenever I got the bag, there was like this big high. It was like a release of all these endorphins. And I was like, oh, I really, really love this feeling. It was also down a rabbit hole of what else is available. And there's so much available. And that ties into the brands releasing all of these new collections, all of these new colours, shapes, slight variations. You go down the rabbit hole and you chase them and you just get addicted. And I would say for a time, I've calmed down a little bit now, I hope, although I will never be a reformed handbag lover. Never, ever, ever. I love them. But I do think for a point of time, I was a bit obsessed and I was caught up in the hype. I can tell you that this bag, I love this bag. But I bought this bag doing a 3 o'clock in the morning feed with my newborn son attached to my breast on the sofa. And while he was feeding, I bought this bag from Designer Wish Bags on Instagram. That's nuts. But it's addictive. And I wish I'd known before I started how addictive and how much I was, I suppose, going to love it and get into this club and want to be in the club and want to chase them down. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I don't really, really enjoy that, but it's something I think you need to be aware of if you're coming in to join us. Number 2, and I really like this about it, but I think you should know that when you start buying these bags and you're buying with a brand repeatedly, the brand starts to make you feel very, very important. And we're only human, I'm only human. It's a really nice feeling. They start to make you feel very valued. They start to make you feel part of their inner circle, part of the club. They offer you access to new releases. They offer you access to places, to things. I personally love it. That might make me materialistic, might do, but I love it. And I love going to those events and being involved in those things. But you should know if you're going to go down this rabbit hole with a brand or brands that when they make you feel like that and they make you feel important like that and they're showing you first releases and they're letting you pre-order, it is very, very easy to get sucked into that and to fall into that and to want to order. Even if it's things that you maybe wouldn't have been after, even if it's things that you maybe wouldn't have loved, when you're caught up in that moment and you're in the special room and they're showing you the things, it's really easy to go along with it and to order things and to want to order things because you want to stay in the club and you want to order more and you feel really good about it and you end up ordering lots of things that you might not even have and you don't want to let them down. And you just need to be aware of that because it's a very, very strong feeling and it's something that I certainly had no clue of before I started. Number 3, and I think if you watch this channel, we probably all know what happened to Tamara not that long ago whenever she had all of her bags in Paris and then she was burgled and she lost all of the bags. And that's something I don't think we can ignore. I don't think we can ignore the security risk. I don't think we can ignore the need to try and insure these bags, how expensive it is to get insurance, how you try to get insurance separate from your house, extra security measures that you're going to put in place. I personally have extra security measures in place. It also has a lot more planning and a lot more time involved in that if we are not in this house, if we go somewhere, these bags don't stay here, they go somewhere too. So there are things you have to plan and be aware of and be security conscious of. And that is something that I had not even considered whenever this was starting. And part of that tying into that is also the price increases. Now, obviously, I would have known that things go up in price, but I had no clue about the crazy luxury house price increases, how much they increase, how much these things become worth. And then that adds into it the security risk. And I know that on the recent price increase video that I made, a lot of people commented about not feeling confident using their bags, not feeling comfortable using their bags, not wanting to carry them now because they effectively think they're like a target on their back. Take the Chanel Classic flap, they're worth so much money. Do you want to be carrying them and attracting that sort of attention? And that's something that I hadn't even dreamt of considering when I started on this luxury journey. just when we're talking about the price increases and how much these bags become, that's a point in itself that I probably didn't realise at the time whenever I was saving for my first Neverfull, which was €550 in 2011, how much these bags would become. So I had never envisaged spending this sort of money on bags. Back then, it is relative because my earnings back then weren't comparable to what they are now, so I couldn't have considered spending this sort of money. But even in my wildest dreams, I wouldn't have thought about spending this level of money on handbags. I wouldn't have dreamt they went to that price. I also wouldn't have dreamt that I would be spending this amount of money on handbags that could have been spent, say, on a trip or a holiday or an investment or put somewhere else. So that's something I do think, although it's a bit more obvious now than when I started, but it's something that's worth considering before you jump in. Number 4, if you do jump in and you get caught up in the cycles of the collections and the releases, and I'm going to buy this bag but then I'm going to sell that bag and that bag's no longer it, because if you follow Instagram on your journey, there's hyped bags. We all remember the multi-pochette accessoire being everywhere, the nano speeder being everywhere. Certain bags get released and they're everywhere and they're hyped, the pochette Matisse, and they're very, very hot. And if you fall into that and then you use it, you might come to the point that you want to sell it and you want to buy the next it bag. Selling bags is difficult. It's difficult. It is a lot easier, I will admit, if you have a YouTube channel and you have people that trust you and are buying the bags from you, but it's not easy. Preparing the bag, having the bag valued, finding a consignor that you trust, somebody that you trust to send the bag to send you the money. Even if you are consigning, it can take time. The fees incurred with consigning. Sometimes I think that these are described as investments, which I don't think they are. They're not financial investments. There might be an investment into your wardrobe, but they're not easy to move on. They're not that easy to get your money back out of. And I think that's something that if you're going to come into it and you're thinking, but I can always sell that bag because I've watched lots of bags on the internet that tell me, or lots of videos on the internet, sorry, that tell me that they're investments and I can sell them on, it's not that easy. And the 5th thing I wish I had known before starting this crazy journey is to find my own style. For so long when I started buying bags, I got caught up in what I thought I should buy, what I thought was sensible, what I thought was worth the money. And I didn't even take a moment to find what I liked or what made me happy or what I wanted to buy. I bought proper handbags. I don't use big handbags really apart from my Neverfull. I don't really use structured handbags, but to me they were proper handbags and worth spending that amount on. I also remember when I started buying designer shoes, I bought lots of designer heels because they were worth it, but I didn't buy, say, designer trainers that I would wear every day because you wouldn't spend that money on trainers. And that's something I wish I had known, to try and find your own style and your own voice and to follow what you are telling you want rather than everybody else says or what's on social media or what's in the stores. Even if it looks like it's a proper bag or whatever, buy what works for you. I remember going into Louis Vuitton in San Francisco and thinking, I wish I could buy just like a small pouch to wear crossbody, but that's like, you wouldn't spend that on that. And I must buy a handbag. Whenever fast forward down the years, the handbags long sold, never worn, and the small pouch type bags crossbody are what I use all the time. If I had known those 5 things before starting this crazy journey, I might have avoided these 5 huge luxury mistakes that I have made along the way. And the first one, and I regret this to this day, was getting caught up in the changing cycles of handbags and how you wear them and what's new and what's that, and selling things that I shouldn't have sold. I wish I had just taken a moment and slowed down and calmed down and not get caught up in the, well, I want to look at this, so I'm going to sell that, and I'm not selling that right now. And the one I'm talking about specifically is the Louis Vuitton Speedy 25 in the beautiful empreinte leather. I should never have sold that bag, ever, and I sold it for a ridiculously low price. That bag was always going to come back around to being useful. I didn't need to always be able to wear it crossbody because it was a bit bulky, and that's why I sold it. I should have just waited, got a smaller crossbody bag like what's behind me, and used the Speedy for the times whenever the Speedy was appropriate. I wish I hadn't just got caught up in, no, don't want that one, I want this next one. Because I really, really regret selling that bag. And if you're going to sell bags, make sure you take the time to really consider it, know that it's what you want to do, and don't have seller's remorse, because I still struggle with that. Number 2, and it's the flip side of that, it's getting caught up in the hype to buy the hyped bag. And for me, I'm specifically talking about the Nano Speedy. When the Nano Speedy came out, I didn't even really love it. It wasn't a bag that I saw and I thought, love that, must have it. I'm very impulsive. I generally make very quick decisions about if I want these bags. Didn't happen with the Nano Speedy. Should have listened to that. But no, got caught up in the hype, was on social media, was seeing it all the time and thought, actually, I do want that bag. I really want that bag. Oh, must buy that bag. And instead of having a little bit of patience and waiting, no, went straight to a reseller. I want to buy one of those bags, please, at that ridiculously overpriced mark that you have on it. Yeah, I want to pay you like 1.5 times or maybe even double what the bag is worth because I want it now. I don't want to wait. I don't want to have patience. I don't want to go to a store. I want it right now. Send it to me and I will give you all of my money. What a fool was I. I'm actually quite sensible with money. I talk about it on a channel. I run a business and I still got caught up in that and I ridiculously amount of regret over that. Not even buying the bag and realising it wasn't for me, but getting caught up in that frenzy, having to have it now and buying it at effectively double the price from a reseller when if I just had a bit of patience I would have got it in the store. Huge regret. Number 3, I kind of regret buying a particular bag that was very sought after and I was able to get it and I didn't want to say no because I didn't want to offend the person or hurt the person in the brand that was able to get me that bag. I didn't want to hurt their feelings and I know that sounds ridiculous as I said out loud, but I didn't want to say no, basically. And learn to say no. There is strength in saying no. Learn to say no to protect yourself. I didn't want to say no. And there was a bag that I ended up buying. It was very sought after. Now, luckily it was very sought after and I sold it on very easily and I don't mark my bags away up so it sold quickly. But I never should have bought it. I should have left it. Somebody else that really wanted it could have bought it. And I just got caught up in it being so... I didn't even get caught up. That's the wrong language. It was sought after. They offered it to me and I didn't want to say no. And that's a mistake. Number 4 ties into one of the things I wish I had known and it was buying things that I thought I should buy and I'm specifically thinking about the Louis Vuitton Brea in the size, which is a beautifully stunning bag in a very deep pink colour. It's my colour, but it's huge. It's huge. Doesn't come with a crossbody strap, but I bought a crossbody strap to go with it. And the reason it doesn't come with a crossbody strap is it looked absolutely ridiculous on me crossbody. It's big. I'm 5'1". It's massive. It covered most of my torso. It was vernis leather. It was structured. It sat away out. It looked ridiculous. I used that bag once for less than an hour. And if I had just taken a moment to think to myself, don't just buy what you think you should buy, like a proper handbag. Take a look at what there is. Try other things on. I went into that store fixated that that was what I was going to buy because it was that colour and that was a proper handbag. It was fixated in my mind. If I had looked around and tried other things, even opened my mind for a second and considered other things, I may have tried on a different bag that was kind of like one of these small crossbody and realised this is what works for you. But no, fixed on it, went and bought it. Wore it once, sold it at a huge loss. And the 5th mistake I have made is buying things for good, for wearing out, for wearing for occasions that I very rarely go on. Very rarely go on them. But at the time when I started, I didn't think buying casual bags or buying designer trainers or buying flats, because I don't go out at night in flats, and I thought I had to buy things for good, for going out for occasions that don't happen that often. And I didn't think it was worth spending the money on everyday items. Like this is one of them. I should have bought this hugely before I did, but I didn't because I thought it's an agenda cover, so it's not worth the money. But what's worth is what's worth for you. It's what you use every day, what you're going to get your use out of, which is going to work for you and make you happy. Instead of buying these things that I bought for good, that I hardly ever wore but looked pretty on the shelf, I should have bought the things like the flats, like the trainers, like this agenda that I was actually going to wear, like my Louis Vuitton Volt necklace, which is in here somewhere with my other ones. If I had bought those things, I wouldn't have had so many things sitting on the shelf for good that I was never really wearing, and I would have had far more everyday things that I used and were worth the money because I got use out of them. These are 5 things I wish I had known before I started this crazy luxury journey and 5 mistakes I have made along the way, and I hope these are informative for you if you're on this journey or you're thinking about buying any of these pieces. If you have enjoyed this video or got any value out of it, please do consider giving it a thumbs up. I'm going to leave another video on the screen for you. If you'd like to watch anything else from me, please do check it out. Thank you so much to Zuvi for sponsoring the first part of the video, and if you are interested in their hairdryer, I am going to leave all of the links in the description box for you to check it out. I'm going to leave my discount code. Make sure you use that if you're looking at one of these. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for watching me. Please take care, and I will see you again in the next one.